Welcome on behalf of Student Union Board and the Committee on Lectures, which is funded by GSB. And thanks to our sponsors, the Women's Studies Program, Women's Awakening, OASIS, and the Margaret Sloss Women's Center. Before Erica introduces our guest tonight, I'd like to announce some upcoming events. Tomorrow evening at 2 p.m., we have the ethanol debate, which is in Cougar 2245. And tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., we have Diversity in the Workplace in the sunroom of the Memorial Union. And on Tuesday, November 29th, is our Fall 2005 Presidential University Lecture, Bruce Thompson on reducing the risk of aviation catastrophe. And there will be free food and a student poster display in the Oak Room beginning at 7 before the lecture begins at 8. And that is in the Great Hall of the Memorial Union. And for more information on any of these events and any other upcoming events, you can check our website, which is www.lectures.iustate.edu, and there are flyers over by the door, so grab some on your way out. And now here's Erica.
Hello, my name is Erica. I am former chair of Women's Week, and I am proud to introduce our speaker this evening. Nicole Hollander has authored or co-authored more than 20 books and collections of her cartoons, including The ABC of Vice, An Insatiable Women's Guide, My Cat's Not Fat, He's Just Big Bones, and My Weight is Always Perfect for My Height, which varies. And a book signing will follow this performance. Her comic strip and books were the inspiration for her 2 plays, Sylvia's Real Good Advice, the musical, and Female Problems, also a musical. Would you please join me with a big round of applause for our speaker tonight?
I'm going to show you a little clip first, which is sort of like a Shaggy Dog story. You'll see this clip and think, what the hell is she doing? Why is she doing this? And then later on, there will be a punchline to it, so be patient with me. The thing that I wanted to say before is that I would like everybody's help here, because this is the first time I've done all the pieces, and I have no idea if they're in the right order or not, or if you think something should come before something else, or something should just be ripped up and thrown away and never heard of again. A lot of this stuff is about aging. As I look around this room, I'm absolutely terrified, because you are all very far from aging, but that's what I'm interested in right at the moment. I didn't notice for a really long time that I was aging, because I operated my life in denial and fantasy, which has worked really well for me. And also, when I was 40 years old, I created a cartoon character, and her name is Sylvia. And I thought, well, Sylvia will do the aging for me, and in fact, she will show me how to get old with attitude. And then about 8 years ago, which is pretty late to have started noticing that I was aging, I thought, well, she doesn't look like she's 10 years older than I am anymore. But I couldn't bear it. I could not bear to make her wrinkled. And she smokes now. She's the last character in the comic book pages the comics that smokes. And so she should have these really tiny, ugly lines, and she should have bags and wrinkles. And someone even said to me, she's gotten slimmer. And I think, yeah, that's how it goes. So I get older and she stays young, and I am her picture of Dorian. So these are all monologues, kind of loosely and variously about aging and different parts of aging. You have to wait a little while for the return to lust. Didn't want to just blow that immediately. And so I'm just going to have Steve play this bit, and then I will come back and I'll start reading the monologues. Okay? Or in fact, I'll just sit.
It's been a while. start when we wanted to. But we don't want that.
anyone calls you ma'am, when you suddenly realize that you look older than you really are? Oh, you want, I think it's loud enough. No? No, you don't think it's quite loud. Okay. How's this? The three girlfriends and I are going to the movies. Someone who looks about 12 is selling the tickets. She looks at me, and I prepare myself to be complimented on my earrings, scarf, lipstick, any number of things because I know I look adorable. She says, "Will that be senior citizen, ma'am?" Behind me, the girlfriends sunk in their breath. They are happy they made me leave that cute little revolver that I bought in case some man proposed to me and wouldn't take no for an answer at home. They fear another traumatic event, like the one when that kid tried to give me his seat on the bus. Big deal, he's young, his scars won't heal. But instead of reaching for the 12-year-old in order to pull her through the small opening in the ticket window, I make a quick calculation. The number of movies I go to each month multiplied by 10 years and full price versus 10 years of senior citizen discounted movies. I could probably buy a nice condo in France for the difference. So I say in a shaky voice, "Yes, dear, that'll be 1 senior citizen and 3 at regular price." The girlfriends speak as one. "Make that 4, dearie." You know, I don't exactly like turning my pen, so maybe I'll. What's this? It's my big birthday. I'm Taurus with Leo rising, so I live for the big gesture and eating all my meals out. I'm having my party in a fabulous restaurant in the Big Apple in an elegant room that holds 21 comfortably. I begin by inviting the girlfriends, but soon I am aware that the list must be extended, that my choices cannot be based entirely on my own wishes. I hate that. People make assumptions. They think because they were at my wedding, they are naturally part of any subsequent celebration. I have to get frosty with them. But at the same time, I find myself inviting near strangers because they seem amusing, and why not? The room holds 21 comfortably. I invite people who live far away. It makes me look good, and they won't come. I am issuing invitations promiscuously. The world suddenly seems filled with potential guests. I have absolutely no room left at the table in the elegant private room of the restaurant where I'm having my birthday. And everyone is coming. No one is canceling. In an idle moment, I call up Henry Kissinger. Now he's coming too. It seems I have merely to mention that I'm having my birthday in New York, and people invite themselves, and I seem unable to tell them not to come. I am up to 30 in a room that holds 21 comfortably. Someone will cancel. Perhaps a daughter will be delivering her baby, or since we are all a certain age, someone will have to have a little surgical procedure the weekend of my birthday and be forced to cancel. Now I have reached the stage of remembering old friends who I previously cut out of my life forever. I am sorry I was rash, and I want them around me on my birthday. I invite them. I invite people who are kind to me in the grocery store, men who let me cut in front of them on the highway. I fling invitations out the window of my car. I exaggerate. I am now up to 50 in a room that holds 21 comfortably. My deposit on the private room is non-refundable. It's too late to change venues. 10 people have to go. The others will just have to sit a little closer together around the table. It is necessary that 10 people go one way or another. I go to my neighborhood bar to pick up a hitman. I have read about hiring hitmen in bars in the newspaper. Women go to a neighborhood bar to hire a guy to dispatch their husband, and he turns out to be an undercover cop. I hope to be luckier. I chat with a large, hairy man at the bar. He seems trustworthy, and he is amenable to paring down my guest list. We arrange another meeting to iron out the details. Meanwhile, I have made a few adjustments in my appearance. Because I want to look great on my birthday, I have acquired perky breasts. And I have a tattoo, a snake wrapped around a heart, and I've cut my hair. But you know how that goes. You start by cutting your hair, and then it lacks body. And it needs a perm, And then you figure, why not go blonde as well? And then all your hair falls out. Which was annoying, as I was in the middle of some sensitive negotiations with the hitman. The hitman liked me, and so he suggested a group rate. He wonders, can I get them all together? Well, of course I can. They will all be at the restaurant. I will just tell the Expendables that the dinner is 1 hour earlier at 6 p.m. They will be quietly bumped off and removed before the others arrive at 7. The hitman is looking at me intently. I am concerned. I remind him that I am not to be paired from the guest list. He tells me that I am beautiful, that I am a beautiful bald woman, that he wants to take me to Bhutan, where women like me are worshipped. He will also take care of getting my non-refundable deposit back. What better way for a girl to celebrate the big birthday? I'm getting myself in the mood by listening to songs from James Bond. Nobody does it better. It makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it half as good as you, baby, baby. You are the best. Okay, I am so stoked I can hardly walk. I calculated that I hadn't had sex for 10 years. Turns out that it's been 14. I know that because I called Dennis long distance, the last man I had sex with. I asked him, when's the last time I had sex? He's not surprised by my call. We were together from 1980 to 1989, so it's been 14 years. 14 years? Are you sure? I can't believe it. I call someone who's my age, and I'm sure has been having sex. Carol, I say, you're postmenopausal. Got any tips for me? Because I'm going to be having sex in the next 10 days. Carol says, you think I'm having sex? You must be nuts. I'm not having sex, but let me get a cigarette. Because if you're having sex, I want to hear about it. She has no advice, not even about having an affair with a married man, a subject she knows a great deal about. She says, I have no advice for you. Okay, I'm going to be having sex in 10 days. Just from thinking about it, I develop a lump in my vulva. I'm between gynecologists, so I go to my old gynecologist, who is no longer covered under my new insurance. I have to pay cash for this visit. He's got a kid intern with him. They're both going to look at my vulva, which they have drawn a diagram of on a little piece of paper to protect my modesty. He asked me to indicate the area of discomfort. I am almost beside myself with impatience. It turns out I have a blocked gland. I tell him I'm going to have sex after 14 years. He gives me a high five. Asks me when this is going to happen, and gives me medication to knock out the infection so I will be in tip-top shape for my rendezvous. I find men of any age terribly pleased and excited when they hear women of any age are having sex after a long time. It renews their faith. I call my sister Jana, who has had a lot of sex, and who expresses surprise that I'm even interested in sex. I didn't think you were interested in sex, she said. I say, I don't have much time to get my vagina in condition, and I can't waste it breaking over the past. She says that she always hoped we would have a discussion like this, where she knows everything, and I am a pathetic novice. She brings over some estrogen cream, but she has somehow lost the applicator. There are no problems for my sister. She has a big corporate job. She says, go to the drugstore and just buy an applicator. The pharmacist says to me, you can't just buy an applicator. Are you crazy? Okay, I say, give me the cheapest product you have that comes with an applicator. This turns out to be something for yeast infections. Yes, I remember yeast infections. I throw the stuff away and keep the applicators. I call Margot, who has always experienced pain in sex, until she met her tantric master and he ordered her a best friend, the BMW of vibrators. It gets warm, I don't know how. I hope it's not dangerous. Anyway, she starts telling me about a product that you put in your vaginal tract called something like Silken Secret. And her voice gets all soft and creamy when she talks about it. And she's sending it immediately by FedEx. There's another product she suggested I have to order online that has a Greek spiritual kind of name, which I order, and then there's Astroglide. I have always been a kind of disorganized person who jumps into things. Like if I'm going to a party and I'm wearing a velvet jacket, I think, why not paint the living room? But this time I decide I'm going to be methodical and prepare my body in a disciplined way for the Olympic events to follow. I find my ancient vibrator and carefully remove the batteries, as this time I'm not going to put it inside, I'm going to put it inside my body, and I don't want to electrocute myself before I have sex for the first time in 14 years. I put the Silken Dream lubricant inside first. It burns hideously. I run screaming to the tub and spray it out. Okay, there's always a glitch. I am sure Madame Curie had her setbacks. I try the cream that's called something like euthanasia. And the estrogen stuff, and then I insert the plastic penis-shaped vibrator. It hurts like hell. I call my sister. She reminds me that penises are more flexible than plastic penis-shaped vibrators. I revisit my gynecologist. He tells me I am good to go, and I get on a plane. After I come back, I tell everyone who will listen that I have just had the best sex of my life. One old lover doesn't look chagrined enough, so I repeat it every time I see him. Finally, he says, I heard you the first time. I am trying not to take it personally. Which seems a shame, because if you've just had great sex, what's better than making an old lover feel bad? And then he says, with just the right amount of regret in his voice, I thought I would be your last lover. How did my old lover come back into my life? It was his wife's idea. For reasons that remain totally obscure to me, she encourages him to call an old flame or two. The first girlfriend he calls is dead. So he is thrilled when I answer the phone. We talk, we email, we turn each other on. We are unable to wait for his scheduled visit, so we meet in a western town where everyone is dressed in Nikes and shorts, and I am dressed for a trip to Paris. His wife has given permission for something to happen when he visits me. She says, I'll understand if something happens with Nikki when you go to Chicago. Then she takes it back. When you are the other woman, no one asks you how you feel about anything. My lover comes to visit me anyway because he has an appointment with his dentist and because he said he would. He intends to discuss the situation with me the next day. I make this impossible by using techniques I didn't even know I knew, and he is weak and he sins. The next day, my lover goes home. His wife asks if he had had sex with that woman. I have become that woman. This is strangely thrilling to me. He says yes. She says that she is worried that I, celibate for 14 years, have given him an STD, and he will pass it on to her. I am so excited about everything concerned with the sexual experience that I go to my gynecologist and have an STD test just for the thrill of it. Because if you take an STD test, that means you're having sex. I imagine that the test involved the delicate pricking of my finger in the manner of Snow White. Just one tiny drop of blood. But in fact, it involves a large needle, enough blood to fill a test tube in my uncooperative veins, which the nurse characterizes as rollover, tiny, and bad. This is not so much fun after all. Of course, I am pronounced STD-free, which comes as no surprise to me or my lover. My lover has also had the test, for which he had to travel 60 miles from home, so that no one in his one hospital town will know that he has been unfaithful. I must confess that in the 45 years between the last time I saw him and the moment he plunked down $9.95 on the internet and was able to find my address, telephone number, and the average income of my neighbors, I had not thought of him once, and now I can't get him out of my mind. The affair was over, but I was still choked with lust. I needed to repeat the experience as quickly as possible, but with a more appropriate partner. I looked in the mirror. I saw clearly that I needed to make a few adjustments in my appearance if I wanted to attract a man. My face needed to be buffed and tightened. I didn't want sex enough to go under the knife. My normal self-protection had been weakened, but not destroyed. So I investigated the world of non-ablative surgery. I did it for all of you. For you, I have had every non-ablative dermatological procedure available. Thermage, Ristylane, microdermabrasion, Botox. I have paid in money and in pain. Believe me when I tell you that there was no difference in my face before and after this. I was deeply annoyed. I wrote to the doctor asking for my money back. That's how annoyed I was. He replied, "My dear Miss Hollander, take a hike. We didn't promise you a rose garden. Believe me, we are very careful not to. But if you're fool enough to want to try a little liposuction on those jowls, I'd be more than happy to take your money." My sister chided me. She said, "Well, a woman with guts who wanted to truly be of service to other women, a true feminist, would have plastic surgery and go out into the land of women and tell them about it." I'm scared, but I make an appointment for a consultation with a petite blonde plastic surgeon with pointed black shoes. I show her the photos of me before and after thermage. She tosses them aside without a glance, but not without saying contemptuously, "Those procedures don't work." I had hoped we would bond, have a few smiles over my foolishness in thinking that I could get away without surgery. But we did not bond. Perhaps it was her sartorial perfection compared to my jeans and an old zippered cotton jacket stained in many places. I didn't know the jacket was stained until I went home, but I'm sure that she did. She asked me to take the jacket off so that she could take before photos. I slipped it over my head. She snapped, "You can unzip it." That's when I knew we would not be soul sisters. "The zipper is broken," I answered. "It doesn't open." Her eyes said, "Who wears a stained cotton jacket with a broken zipper to a plastic surgery consultation?" Then she told me that I was too old to have a mini facelift, and that as well as having a full lift, I I would, in order to look natural, have to do my eyes as well as my jolly jaw. She adds that one can now also fix crepey chicken necks with a little cutting and a little stitching and a little shoving of that extra flesh into an itty-bitty incision under the chin. The doctor lets me feel the scar under her chin. She shows me photos of her clients, before and after. They are average women just like me. They look terrific. She's really good, this blonde doctor. And she says, you have to lie low for 2 weeks. You will leave the office with gauze on your head. Why, I ask, leaning forward, my face taut with fear. Try to hide the drains behind your ears, she says pleasantly, and bring your own dark glasses and scarf. I will now read from the cleaning of the drains instruction sheet. Drains must be emptied and measured at least 3 times per day, or more often if filled. Pull tab up on drain to allow the reservoir to expand. The expansion will allow you to see the calibrations. Write down the measurements. Empty tube into paper cup. Squeeze reservoir and insert tab. This will restart the vacuum. Measurements need to be added up for each 24-hour period. Then the tiny Iron Maiden leaves the room. It's time to discuss money and possible surgical complications. This can be done better by a young nurse whose innocent voice should take the sting from the ominous words. She reads the treatment agreement that I must initial and then sign. I will now read excerpts from the treatment agreement. I understand that the sealant glue that may be used in my procedure is made from human blood products. I further understand that the selected donors have been tested and that the plasma has been treated with a vapor, heat, viral inactivation process. I understand and accept possible risks and complications that include but are not limited to bleeding, infection, hematoma, scarring, skin slough, hair loss, facial weakness, patches of permanent numbness, nerve damage, asymmetry, or discoloration of the skin. I understand and accept the possibility of less common complications, including the remote risk of death. I understand that the nerves that control the muscles of facial expression can on rare occasion be slow in recovering, and I further understand that I may experience unsatisfactory results. And after 10 minutes of thinking hard, which is as long as I can think about anything, this is one of those things that's so good to me, I know. I get this haircut instead. I allow the excitement of Cyberboy and my newly awakened desire to cloud my judgment. I am so out of control that I ask friends, not even close friends, people I meet on the bus, to introduce me to older men. Men who have just lost their wives. I don't want a divorced man. I don't want ambiguity. I want a widower or nothing. A friend calls to say that she had run into the ex-husband of a schoolmate of hers at a funeral. Wow, it's almost perfect. I sent my wish out to the universe and it provided. Not exactly. It was not his wife's funeral, but someone's funeral. That's close enough.
Would I like her to give him my number? No, I don't want to talk. My talking skills are rusty, I'm nervous. I suggest that we communicate by email at first. He agrees after Googling me. I'm really good on Google. There are pages of stuff on me, some in foreign languages. After a few rounds of emailing, we have an argument. He suggests that we meet face to face rather than ramp up our dislike of each other by email. I suggest meeting at a restaurant, one that I know of that offers 100 different sakis. Several different sakis can take the edge off of any meeting. I'd be buzzed with the fruit of thousands of years of Japanese civilization. He doesn't want to. He doesn't drink. His parents were alcoholics. Okay, I'm flexible. I mentioned France, where they have spent thousands of years perfecting coffee. I suggest a funky French cafe with great latte and splendid pastries. But I am easygoing, and I suggest the possibility that there may be an even funkier cafe with even better coffee. He replies that he only drinks diet root beer. In my whole life, I have never met a man who only drinks diet root beers. I realize that after 14 years of being perfectly happy with my friends, my antidepressant medication, and a very dependent cat named Sally Cookie, I am not keen to begin a relationship with a real person. I'm put off because he says a two-person family is better equipped to raise a child than any other combination, and also because he would be sure to make demands as real people do. I tell him I'm sorry. My fantasy life is so all-consuming, so satisfying, so overwhelming that I have no room in it for a real person. He's very gracious. He's probably relieved. Meanwhile, I have begun a flirtation with Marcel, who I haven't seen in 25 years. He lives in France. He's European, not actually French, but that's close enough. His writing is delicious, an unexpected aphrodisiac. I'm ecstatic, entranced by his outrageous wit and his sexy phrasing. He tells me that I am correct. We are having an affair. I try to remember when I said we were having an affair. I believe I said something like, "This is too hot to cool down, not to cool down." He tells me to have no fear. I am in the hands of an experienced man, a man who has had many affairs. In fact, I am Madame Onze, the 11th in a long line of what the French refer to as fiancés, long-term sex partners as opposed to a one-night stand, liaisons which do not lead to marriage. I'm assigned a number just so I don't get a swelled head. My affair with Marcel, since it's virtual, doesn't demand plane tickets, incredibly convoluted plans, missed messages and mixed messages. I savor it. He sends me hot letters. I look forward to every letter with obsessive anticipation. If I don't get a letter, I send him one threatening to cut him out of my life. Marcel and I have been writing a year, 3 or 4 letters a week. At the beginning, we're both in a sexual daze, but after a while, our relationship becomes as full of misunderstandings and petty irritations and as demanding as any normal relationship. Our exciting scenarios have grown old. Suddenly, without consulting me, he announces that he's coming to visit me. Chérie, I will arrive on May 20th at 1600 hours. I feel like I've been in a long marriage and I'm looking for an annulment. I am like so over the whole thing. I am not looking forward to having this guy, this hairy stranger, I see him in my mind's eye as covered with hair, in my house. Luckily, he has a heart problem. I received an email saying he's in the cardiac unit of the hospital. He fainted while watching a movie with a friend. I wonder what movie. He writes, I suppose it was the overexcitement at the prospect of meeting you that made me pass out. I see no other explanation. He mails me his electrocardiogram. When his doctor asks to see that, he says, I sent it to a friend in Chicago. And she says, a friend of your heart? He wonders, what would have happened if in the midst of the hot sex, he had passed out or died? Would you have thrown me in the lake, Nikki? Oui, Marcel, in a heartbeat, I say. He never does make the visit. You know how it is when you are awakened from a sound sleep? You are befuddled, annoyed, but then once awake you can't go back to sleep? And so it is with my interest in men. Before I know it, I have joined 2 online dating services and been rejected by a 3rd. I tried to join one called something like BigBrainDating.com, which matches people who have gone to the top schools, as ranked by the U.S. News and World Report. I look at their website, which resembles the cover of a discreet romance novel, and I see that my alma maters, the University of Illinois and Boston University, are not on the list. I rush off an email to them. I say I'm shocked by the omission of my alma maters. Boston University is just a stone's throw away from Harvard. Surely the fact that I was chosen for marriage by a man who later got his PhD from Harvard conferred some kind of secondary glow. How about it? I sign it Millie. I am now Millie, for purposes of online dating. Okay, this is avoidance behavior. The truth is I am not ready. But while I'm not ready to actually date, I am perfectly delighted to browse and fine-tune my online dating profile. Match sites profiles are arranged by age. I am betting that no man my age is going to troll through the profiles of women my age. My cynicism has been borne out by the utter silence that has greeted my profile. No, I exaggerate. I received a wink. I check it out. The wink comes from a man who has absolutely none of the qualities I listed as important in a man on my date profile. He describes himself as having some college, modestly reports others tell him that his best quality is being able to get along with all sorts of people. Also, he values family above all, and he likes women older than he is. I am creeped out. Fine. There's an upside to my wink. I narrow my desires to a man who dances salsa and swing and has an advanced degree in a hard science. In my profile section, books that turn you on, I write at length on why the Da Vinci Code is a piece of crap. And the person who wrote it shouldn't be encouraged. So if you haven't bought the book yet, please don't. I easily write more than 1,000 words. They only allow for 250 words on the subject I have cut off. I discovered that I can only muster up 219 words to describe myself and my ideal date to the community. I am allowed 2,000. I can't do it. I know this is illogical. I realize I want to be loved for the fact that if you turn me around twice a block away from my house, I can't find my way back home and have to hail a cab. After I see the movie Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, I realize that I find doper humor incredibly funny. Now I'm getting closer to knowing the exact man I want. Now he must be a combination of Harold and Kumar, but older, the age of Kumar's father. Okay, I'm getting somewhere. Also, I've added to my list of dislikes. My man has to have a substantial nose. I don't like tiny noses on men or stomachs that start below the neck. I had no idea I was so shallow. I discovered that what I like most about online dating is writing and editing my profile. My dating service allows me to edit my profile over and over again. But I have to face it, in time my passion for editing my profile will fade. I will no longer edit when other women are applying cream to their body. In anticipation of this loss, I have taken steps. I plan to put in my own personal ad in some prestigious journal, big as I want, a quarter page, a half page, 48-point type. Adorable woman needs to be rescued from her TiVo dependence by witty, flirty, trim, swing dancing older man with advanced degree who will drive her wild in bed. I've had a second adolescence. I have been as immature this time around as I was the first time. I'm ready to give it up and transition into something else. Maybe I'll take the Tippi Hedren route, ride around in a Jeep, save wild animals, wear cream-colored joggers, carry a lightweight video camera. Meantime, this has really given me the rare opportunity, which we really don't have unless a man that we went out with is married to someone and lives downstairs from us, which is actually also my situation. But to see what would happen if you had married this guy. If I had married Cyberboy, now what I know about him is he goes to bed at 9 o'clock after a full day of biking up mountains, skiing up mountains, maybe ice skating up mountains. Now I know that this might sound really lovely to all of you, but I hate that. I hate the weather right now. Anyway, it wouldn't be good. There is no movie theater in this town, but he can walk to the hospital, and he likes cats. He has emailed me many photos of his life. I view them with utter fascination. I could have been his second wife, that woman ice skating in a canyon. A canyon reached through treacherous, snow-covered trails. Or I could have been his first wife, whose name is eerily like my own, and who he chose over me because she was right there in Lubbock, Texas. And as he put it delicately, I had sort of a dark personality. I think that if I had been his first wife, and I took a job as secretary in an oil company, I would have started drinking immediately. And within a year, I would have probably become an alcoholic and been shipped home to my parents. Actually, I think that my mother and father would have come down on the plane, taken me on the plane in a gurney because my mother was very dramatic. Then I think of the boys that I really liked. What if I had married one of those dangerous boys, those James Deans that I was so fond of? Many of us really good girls, our only fun in life was through having sex with someone marked trouble across his forehead. What if I had married one of them? My mother would only have allowed this had I been far advanced in pregnancy. I would have taken a job as a waitress in a diner, and he, after a series of dead-end jobs, he would finally find employment in a steel mill, just a millisecond before those jobs became extinct. And every night he would drink a six-pack of beer and fall asleep in front of the TV. And who would have imagined that his washboard stomach would now start under his pectorals? Well, that didn't happen. I was fated to marry an academic with an exotic accent and not live happily ever after. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions, comments, advice? Yes.
How do you know so much about what cats are thinking?
I have two cats. I've spent a great deal of my life thinking about cats and writing about cats, and I'm sure I'm right. They just think about themselves. They're utterly selfish and self-centered, and if you want to feel that you, in fact, have a great, generous heart, just look at your cats, because they don't. Anything you want to know about.
Did you really see Harold and Kumar go to White Castle?
I love that movie. Yeah, isn't it? And I thought search for drugs, sex, and White Castle. I was hooked. Yes.
So when you started, you didn't think about growing older or even writing about being older. Now you're here and you know that's happened. And so do you think about what you might be writing when you're 85 or 90?
No, I have not thought about that. I have only thought that I probably can't read this for more than a few years. Because I don't think it's going to be, I think that when I'm 70, it's not going to be believable. I don't know what I'm going to be writing then. I think maybe I'll have people that read it for me, 50-years will read this for me. But I don't really know the answer to that. Yes?
Do you have any television vices? You mentioned TiVo. You're watching the shows right now.
Yes. I TiVo Boston Legal, Rome, and Prison Break.
Yes.
Prison Break. I have to TiVo Prison Break because I have to be able to stop it because it actually terrifies me. I really the tension is really good in that program. It's amazingly good. And so I'm wringing my hands and I have to leave the room and then I have to come back and play it again. But I think Prison Break, Boston Legal. Oh, and now I like Grey's Anatomy too. So I have really got a problem. I don't watch the morning shows. That's all I can say. Anything else?
Give us some hope.
Well, I'm older than you are.
Well, I'm trying They can call.
No, I mean, this.
Don't tell me that.
This is a surprise. This is a wonderful surprise. Whatever, it was glorious fun. It didn't last long enough. But look, I got a lot of writing out of it. I mean, what can you ask for more? Good sex and material to write. So I'm perfectly happy, and I'm grateful. I'm also grateful to meeting a person that knew me when I was 22 years old and can remember actually everything I said, because I sure as hell can't. So, thank you very much.